I guess we'll start off. Lindsay, I'd love to learn a little bit about you, and then I'll intro myself, and then we'll just go from there. It's kind of around like what support you need and how I can help you.
Yeah. So I'm in the digital advertising brand partnerships industry. Was laid off due to COVID. Like after 1 year of being with my last company, and I moved to New York to join the company. So I'm in New York right now. At first, my job hunt was really strong. I was interviewing, doing a bunch of projects, proposals, like multiple rounds of interviews, and like it. I mean, some of them were even VP level, so it was a bit of a stretch, but still, like it took so much time, and then I got kind of drained. So I took a break for the past couple months, but I mean, obviously, I need a job. So just the past week or so, I've picked it back up. But yeah, no, what support I need, I guess it's like I was almost avoiding it because it seemed like just I kept reading about how companies won't even like consider a candidate if they don't have a personal website. And like, I need to build a website. I don't know how to build a website. Should I pay someone to build a website? Like all of that, a digital portfolio, and even networking tips for the modern day. I remember the last huddle I was in. They're like, I think you should send the CEO of this company a video. Like just randomly. I'm like, what? Is that normal now? Apparently it is. But apparently you're also the queen of digital engagement. So I am all ears.
Awesome. I think there's a lot of good pieces to cover. As you probably know a little bit about me, I'd like to think I'm like the queen of video. And actually ran my own social media business for 2 years. I think back in 2016, I did Instagram and Facebook and MailChimp, and I built out a website. And so I really helped. And I had one main client who I helped a lot with, which I think some stuff will be similar and can translate. And basically, I built out their influencer program. I obviously built out their website. They were doing e-commerce, so it was a little bit different, but really built that out. Really focused on growing reach. So how do we really, what I always think about is how do I get above the noise? And not only is that important in my day-to-day job in sales, but that's important in life, right? How do I get above the noise? How do I get noticed? How do people remember me? And so really that's where I was. And now I do business development, been in the business development world for about 2 years now. And actually 2 years, end of this month. And so basically it's the same concept of how do I get above the noise? That's always what is top of mind. And so obviously that first piece of that, you are avoiding it while you're here. So we've made some progress.
Yes.
I think in terms of applications, I would look to your network. I would start connecting with more people, because the best way in general, is going to be through referrals. If you can get those referrals, and don't be afraid. So I know someone who's a friend of mine, and I said, use me, use people. I have friends who work at Google, who work at PayPal, who work at different companies. Use your connections to your advantage. People will not be mad or angry or annoyed if you ask them to refer you. And so I think that's a big piece.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like companies, what companies are you looking to work for? What's your goal company? And why?
I would love to work at Instagram or Facebook and do partnerships for them. Another big one would be like Spotify partnerships. Let's see. Yeah, I just recently, 2 days ago, filled out an application for a Facebook partnerships role. They have a few of them open right now. Pinterest, I did, before I started avoiding, I did have a digital coffee with someone at Pinterest. And I mean, just everything, even he was like, at each role or applications giving like 500 applicants.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure it's like the perfect role for you and it makes sense. So even if it entailed some project management, and I don't have any project management experience.
But do you have skills that align with project management?
Right. Yeah. That's what.
So I think that's a piece, is even if you don't have that on your resume, of making sure, obviously you have to change it around role by role, but if that is a big piece, highlighting the skills and that directly align to that. So in the order of what I say is, people a lot of times will randomize their description on their resume. And I would be very intentional, and you probably are very intentional about the skill set that you're showing. Let's say you don't have project management, but you have the skill set, and so you need to fill that gap. I would put that first on your resume to say, obviously after what's the most important pieces that line up with a job, but put that before other pieces. So if you know that there's a piece where you're short in the title actually of it, putting that as something so it shines earlier on than later on.
Okay. Do you have an example of like a perfect resume?
I have an example. I don't know. My belief is there isn't a perfect resume because everyone's different. I think also, since you're in like the digital world, you may want to make it digitally engaging, right? I can actually share my screen. Mine's pretty boring, to be honest.
Someone told me mine was like a stuffy bank account. So I just redid mine to make it a little more colorful.
Okay. I don't have any color, but I will show you what my resume looks like. And I think what's most important is if you have stats, putting in stats on your resume of actual lift that you created, or that's what's most important, of showing the actual impact that you have. And if you did a similar role, I will make the most space in terms of my current role of sharing what I've been doing, since it's the same. So you can see my screen.
Yeah.
So I have my name, number, email. Then I have like 2 quick sentences which really highlight what I can do.
Okay.
So an example of this was actually a resume for a role that's a management role. I have no management experience, but as you can see, obviously I'm putting what my quota attainment is because that's important. And I said 7 consecutive quarters, but I'm talking about my relationship building. Even though other things could be really important to the actual role on the ground, the leadership pieces is building relationship, leading enablement, training other SDRs, and then doing creative approaches. So I put those pieces first because I know that they are going to be looking at those top probably 3 bullets. And just because the other things are important, like the fact that I created qualified opportunities with these super high up people is very important to show credibility. But for this role, those top, besides the top performing, those top 3 bullets are around pieces that will be directly applicable to the job, even though I haven't done that job yet.
Yeah, I like this. I like how concise it is.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw my resume.
I did not.
But I like tend to be very long-winded.
So that's what you want to think about, like the day, think about so you go on Instagram, you look at photos, you're swiping through. Right. You're not reading. I mean, rarely are you stopping on someone's post, reading the whole post, engaging, unless you're a diehard fan. But when you're thinking about these people who are interviewing, they're not a diehard fan of you yet.
No.
So keep it short and concise. And that's my same advice with LinkedIn. If you're posting on LinkedIn, short and concise. If you look at my LinkedIn, and
I just sent.
Oh, perfect.
In the chat.
But if you look, oh God, there are way too many messages.
Story of my life.
And I can take a look at your resume also in a second, but if you see also my posts are single spaced.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to read a paragraph unless
Right.
they're in such a niche that it's something that resonates so well. But in general, and this is especially, and I know you're not in sales, but in sales.
I am in sales.
Okay, perfect. Wait, you are in sales?
Yeah.
So explain what you do specifically.
So brand partnerships. I don't know if you're like an online shopper, but most recently I worked with Gilt.com and Rue La La. They're under the same umbrella company now. And so if you can imagine, PepsiCo wants to pay $500,000 to do this like custom integrated campaign to get in front of our audience.
Okay. So you're in a different type of sales in a way. It's more like the partnership side of sales, but you're not saying, hey, will you take a meeting? Will you take a meeting? Will you take a meeting?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
That was me. But I wasn't like cold calling, but I was working mostly with ad agencies and meeting with them. That's why they had me in New York, because most of the agencies are here.
Okay.
And it was just, the partnerships team was just my senior director and I, and we just split up the verticals. So I had like travel and tourism, CPG, wine and champagne, like luxury home categories, like Sherwin-Williams. So we could do a whole color story and
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I should have asked that first. Wait. Oh, you sent it in the Zoom chat.
Yes.
Why is this not working? So let's just take a quick look at your resume also and see if we can tweak at least a few things.
Would love just like any thoughts you have, like if it's too, because mine like had a similar layout to what yours is now, except it was a lot more, it was like 10-point font and like no margin.
So most likely you're trying to tell too much. Yes.
Do you see mine? Will you share the screen so I can see what part you're talking about?
So I think this is great, but I think that you can break it down in like, think about what is going to be most important for the companies that you want to work for. And so a lot of times what I'll do is I will keep my past roles and past titles short, like probably your senior assistant buyer. That role is not as applicable to what you're applying for. Unless there's,
I think I could just take it out, or is that like?
Yeah, I think you only need the past 5 years of work experience. No one needs you to go back that far. So I think it's fine. I think you don't even need to put the years that you graduated. I think it's fine on my resume, as you can see. I just say where I graduated from. So then you're also not like putting yourself in a bubble saying I have to fill all this time.
You're not dating yourself. You're not putting an age on yourself either. So they're not going to make assumptions about your seniority level and what you should and shouldn't be capable of. That's actually a good point. I've got the dates on mine. I'm about to go take it off.
Take it off. And there's bias and in the workplace. And even if people say, oh, we don't hire based on whatever, there's 98% is unconscious bias. So of our bias, obviously. So take out you can take out old roles if they're not that important to your current role. So like you've had this role, this role, and then account manager. I think for your old roles, you can take out some of this stuff and be very concise. Because you say manage and grew the company's most strategic, complex, and challenging accounts. I don't know what those are. I don't know what that meant. Maybe it means that, and also like, I think maybe you just say managed and grew blank, blank, and blank accounts by whatever percent, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think there's pieces though that you can, if it's repetitive, you don't need to repeat it on multiple roles because they'll be able to see it on one role. So if you did develop and actively manage short, you could even say account plans. Like you could take that out and say developed and managed account plans based on client brand objectives.
Okay.
So like taking out, or you can say launch and executed the new live event and ticketing category from the ground up. And you could say with clients such as Ticketmaster and the MLB, bringing in over 100K bottom line annually with 29% year over year increase. So how do we take out those pieces that to you are important? But remember, it's not you who's reading the resume.
Yeah.
It's someone else. And they just want to easily digest.
Yeah.
So I think you can take out your last role of this.
Take out senior assistant buyer, take out dates from education. And then take out fluff from those. What about at the top where I have like this area?
So
is it too much?
I don't do this personally on my resume. I know people are split with because the nice thing I like about this is that you have like straight up what you specialize in, right? I would make sure that you also make sure that these are aligned to whatever the role is. So
I switched the bullets based on what I'm applying for. I know it's split. I feel like people are like 1-page resume, whatever, it doesn't matter. You should have a summary, you shouldn't. But okay, so this is fine, you think?
I maybe try to put it into 6 bullets because I think there's crossover in a lot of these.
Okay.
So I would try 6 bullets, keep it a little bit shorter, but highlight, like think about what's most important to that role. And you can obviously have the 9 ready to go. And then you have the 6 bullets per resume. I think the top piece is a little bit too long.
I was going to say the same.
Yeah. I think it needs to be like 2 sentences. If you see like, what are the 2 most important things?
I know, that's why I noticed on yours was like so concise.
Yeah. So team player with strong communication, organizational skills has exceeded quota for 7 consecutive quarters. So I would have that piece of has a history of generating over 500K in bottom line revenue, helping clients drive brand awareness or whatever it is.
So you can actually combine this piece of advice with what Kayla said 2 minutes ago about posting in short sentences on LinkedIn. I have the same syndrome as you, Lindsay. I tend to get long-winded when I write. And where I start to notice it is when you have too many ands in a sentence. You can tell that you're stringing too many ideas into one sentence. Like I managed and built and then this and like comma and comma and comma and. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like that too. So if you can take the ideas, parse them out into their like unique units and make really nice short sentences out of them, that'll help you with the bullets too. There's probably a bunch of like fluffy verbs and nouns and maybe some adjectives in there that either they need their own bullet because it's really 2 separate ideas, or you can just squish it into one and use more precise language.
Agreed.
Okay. Yeah. That's really helpful.
Even in that first sentence, your like tagline, it's your tagline, right? So it could be, and I don't even have you have senior manager of digital advertising and brand partnerships. I would take that piece out because people know what your role is already. What I would do is you either want to be a successful new business builder or you're a successful strategic brands partnership leader. You are one. You have to identify on what fits more directly. And so let's say, I'm just talking hypotheticals. You say successful business builder, or I think successful strategic brand partnerships leader, known for executing on high impact, fully integrated marketing campaigns. Done. First sentence.
The other thing is that you've written the title there. You've written Senior Manager, Digital Advertising and Brand Partnerships. So if you wanted, you could probably cut out that entire first sentence and go straight for brand partnerships leader known for conceptualizing and executing high impact, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am
I going to get a copy of this recording? So, okay. This is so good.
Are we recording?
Looks
We're
like
recording.
it.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
we're recording.
So I would take out even the top title, and really it shouldn't matter your location also. I would take out your location in the top. Because
Really?
yep, we're remote. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. So I would take that out. It does not matter.
Okay.
In the way that you can see mine, people will know your LinkedIn. I just keep it to name, phone number, email. You can keep in your LinkedIn. I would keep it short and simple on the top, 6 bullet points max. Then you have to make these pieces a lot shorter. So you could say sold revenue driving digital media campaigns for Rue La La and Guilt with 35 million combined members, or whatever. I would say whatever, think about what, and you can kind of BS this, but whatever results you achieved from that.
Mm-hmm.
So think about always what results you achieved, or what skill does it show?
So I have, what sucks, this is why it's so hard, is when I was at Rue La La and Guilt, all of the campaigns I had in the pipe were 6 figures. They were planned out, and like it's a very long sales cycle, like to get up and running, then to get these campaigns rolling. And then COVID hit, all the media budgets got pushed. There was a bloodbath of layoffs, and I didn't even get to see any of my campaigns to fruition. So
maybe you don't write result, but maybe it's just saying sold revenue driving digital media campaigns for Rue La La and Guilt with a combined 35 million members, achieving brand awareness and customer acquisition, or achieving blank and sales. And do you want to say included custom on-site integration, social, blah, blah, blah? Did you create that, or is that just a piece of it? Did you create the integrations? Did you create the social? Did you create the editorial? Did you create the email?
I put together the plans and the strategy behind it all. So if it was a higher price point, it would include, how many mobile push notifications, insert,
So I think it would be created or ideated and sold revenue driving digital media campaigns for Rue La La and Guilt with 35 million combined with Rue La La and Guilt with 35 million combined members, driving brand awareness and sales, right?
I was going to skip exactly to that driving part too. Yep.
But there's a lot of filler words that you like because you feel attached to them. But remember, always remember, and this is what I remember when I'm writing emails, it's not about me. This is, who am I trying to get a meeting with? And that's the goal, right? Who are you trying to get a meeting with to get an interview? So,
okay, lastly, just the overall look and feel.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah. You just have to make it way shorter.
Okay.
Way more. And I'm happy, if you take a look and try to shorten things and you want to send me a copy, send me a copy. I will, I love
it. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So there's a ton of pieces where I think it's important, right, that you have the different brands and you're calling out the brands. There also could be a piece where you say worked with brands including blank, 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 right? So, I like the way you have it in here, but successfully launched travel and tourism vertical. And you could just make whatever 120 plus 150 plus 150, right? That number, equaling over blank in whatever contract value.
Even though they didn't or haven't launched, the Bermuda one, we have to.
But they signed, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
And you can just say that you generated the pipeline too. Like
Yeah.
if you have to change what the success metric is called in order for that number to make sense, it's fine as long as you're being honest. Like it's not incorrect for you to say that you generated that much pipeline. You did.
Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly.
I like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So like that could be, I think that's the piece, is be honest, but like make sure that you are shining yourself in the best light. So
yeah, wherever your big numbers are, use those.
Yeah, exactly. So like, for example, with the help train other SDRs around video and research, or led company-wide enablement around messaging. I did one enablement session. I still am calling it out. Like,
yeah.
so I think a big piece of it is that it's okay. Like make yourself as the best candidate you can be. And I know we sometimes are hard on ourselves. So we're like, that's not exactly what it was, but everyone does that on their resume. As long as it's the truth, you can probably in your head, you're thinking it's stretching the truth, but it's not, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's fine with me. It's just when I got to the interview part, they were like, so like, what percent to goal, and like, can we see your campaigns? What were the results? And I'm like, well, actually.
Well, I think that's a piece also is, I mean, the most important piece, don't be afraid of that step, because you just need to get in the door. Then
Totally.
you show who you
Yeah,
are,
you're right.
your personality.
That's what I'm focused on now.
Yeah. So that is what you are focused on. So also, like for this account executive, brought in 300 bottom line annually. That should be your first one. You should have a number of what you did, number one, or spearheaded vendor marketing efforts. It should just say spearheaded vendor marketing efforts, driving traffic. You can always say on average, right? So realizing on average a 67% lift in social engagements.
Oh, I like that.
So you can always do average. Even
or up to is a good one also. Up to this much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you do have stats though, talk about, so you said manage, how do you pronounce it? Zulili's?
Yeah.
Okay. First ever international only marketing campaign focusing on the Canadian market. But what happened with that? Did anything happen?
Yeah.
So like, is there a stat there or a lift that you created or try to tie, and it doesn't happen in everyone, right? But
that one definitely has something I could add. That was with Casper mattresses.
Perfect.
Like an amount of reach or something, even like clicks or anything that you can show that just quantifies a little bit why it was important.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's a piece, is saying how you had an impact. That is the most important piece. You can't tie to everything. So if you look at mine, it says build relationships with AE. I probably could add in here strategically approached over 130 named and enterprise accounts. Here I probably wouldn't do that, but if I can I will say it. Like, let's say I could say make cold calls to engage prospects. I could say make over 300 cold calls per week, or I won't do that, but giving more examples, and that was short sight on me. I should probably add that, right? And maybe it's also saying, what do you use? Different tools. Are there tools that are important that they list on the job listing? And you want to show that you have experience with those tools, so that you're not just hopping in and they say, well, you need to have experience with Salesforce. You need to have experience with this. They can just look at your resume and say, oh, okay, check the box.
Yeah.
Right? So
another thing is that I've seen on resumes when I'm scanning is that if you can show them that you speak the language and that you know what's important and that you can prioritize what's on your resume by what they're looking for. And so Kayla's calling out training for SDRs and relationships with AEs and quota and these words that shows that she knows what's entailed in this job. And like, she's going to call out the achievements and the areas that are important. So you make it really easy for them to lend you credibility.
Yeah.
Love that.
So make sure that you're looking at the job posting and aligning what they say with what you say. And they may have different jargon for stuff, right? So make sure that your jargon is exactly the same. Like you could have something that says sold revenue driving digital media campaigns, but maybe it's the same, maybe they say ideating and whatever digital media campaigns. Change your wording and exactly mirror, because we want to have that familiarity. And so they may or may not have created that job posting, but it's words that they're using.
Right. Okay. I love that.
And so that's what I would say on your resume, but update it, try to shorten it, and then send me a copy of what you have. I think even just for this, you could say also focused on accounts including blank, 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 blank.
Okay.
So, and also, did you have any impact with these other accounts?
Which ones?
Any of these ones?
Did I have? Yeah. I mean, we had plans in place, and then everything got thrown. Like for all the entertainment ones, no one could shoot the films. Like we were going to do Emily in Paris. We were going to do a bunch of things, and all the like production of movies and films and shows got pushed because of COVID.
So I think
everything got thrown off the rails.
That's an important part, is say what you did. Like not just additional verticals of focus. That could mean that you just like focused on them and tried to get into them. But what did you actually do? Which accounts do you actually get in?
Oh, you're right.
So met with senior leaders at XXXXXX.
Or strategically partnered with whatever it is, whatever is important. I think that relationship building is a really important piece. So just calling that out, I think at least once. So I would say that's pretty much just, I would update your resume and then send me a copy, and then I'll make edits.
Perfect.
I'm pretty hardcore about edits, so you can just take things with a grain of salt also.
Yeah. No, please like edit away.
Yes. Okay. So
yeah, I've gotten really brutal with my own writing too. So now I like don't hold back. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna tear this to pieces, but like it's your work. So do what you want with it after that. But
okay. So on the resume, I think there's improvement, making it shorter, more concise, showing social value. That's always what you want to show, that social value.
Okay.
I think the piece of building a website, I would use a website building tool, maybe Wix. I'll show you an example of a website I build with zero coding, and it's e-commerce, which is actually, I would say, harder to get into.
What is?
E-commerce. So like just building out an e-commerce website is more of a pain than you building out a personal website.
Yeah.
So this was the website. Take what you will, whatever. It wasn't my choosing of colors, but as you can see, and it's all product, but I did a blog. This doesn't look like the best website, but you can see that it's a website. And
yeah,
so
I mean, it's like, yeah. So how much does it cost to use Wix?
It's like $20 a month or something. It's not expensive. You can easily build out pieces. You can easily put in anything you want. For the most part, you won't need any coding. And that's something that I think people get caught up on, is they think, oh, I have to create a WordPress site and I have to do all this coding.
Yeah. No. I'm like, oh my gosh.
No, use Wix or Weebly. I think there's two. One, you have do your research. I don't know what I used for this one, but
Weebly? Like the W-E-E-B-L-Y.
I think I used
Wix.
Okay. I think I used Wix. I think.
And then have you ever worked with Squarespace?
I have not.
I have.
How do you think that compares?
Squarespace is good if all you're looking to do is like drag and drop and use very simple pieces and just put them in a nice, clean, easy layout. Squarespace is really good for that. So the Hire Me website is built on Squarespace. Hi, Squarespace. And we've found it like it's it's super user friendly. Again, you don't need to code, but if there are little bits and pieces of code that you want to add, they make it pretty simple. There's a lot of really cool integrations with Squarespace too. I don't know if you're going to need to be loading like YouTube content or what kind of stuff you want to be showcasing in the portfolio, but Squarespace has got a lot of plugins with that. But if you want to get too fancy with the layout, that it's a little finicky in terms of like which pieces go where, but if you want to keep it nice and clean and straightforward, it's pretty easy to use.
Yeah. How much do you know, or do you mind saying how much it is?
They're pretty cheap. All of the
Yeah, they're pretty cheap too. I'm not sure exactly because I know we have a couple like add-ons and things, so I don't know what the bottom of the barrel price is, but
I'll compare. Okay, so Weebly, Squarespace, Wix.
I think my hesitation with Squarespace was the layout, but I could be wrong.
Because it was limiting?
What? Sorry.
Because it's limiting?
Yeah, I think they're all pretty much the same, right? So like for your purposes of building out a website, pretty much the same. What I would make sure is look at people in your industry, see people who do the same job and see if they have websites and try to base your website off of what they're doing. So you're not having to recreate the wheel. That's what I would definitely do. For digital portfolio, obviously you'd put your digital portfolio on your website. Do you have content that you've created, or what does that look like?
When I was applying for Rue Guilt Group, I put one together via PowerPoint and turned it into a PDF to send to the hiring manager. And so, I mean, I have visuals and such, and I do have creative mocks for the campaigns that we're supposed to launch at Rue and Guilt.
So here's an idea.
Yeah.
Why don't you, since you have free time, right?
Yeah.
Do some mock-ups for the companies you want to work for. Do some mock-ups or for hypothetical campaigns or whatever you would run. And so you can show them, and they're not, and that's what I'm all about, is showing versus them having to ask you, being proactive. So let's say you want to do something for Pinterest, look at what they're doing with a brand or a brand that they work with and create something around that. Say, hey, if I was to do this, this is the pieces I would take. So I think that's a really important piece. And since you do have that time, I know it's going to be challenging, but I have faith in you that you can do it.
Thank you.
Because, and then you keep yourself fresh, right? Because you're still doing work, you're still creating content.
Like,
and so
progress,
yeah. So what I would do is look at your top 10 companies that you want to work for or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also take a look at some, like, there may be some smaller companies because Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Pinterest are the shiny objects, right? Everyone wants to work there. So it is harder to get in.
Yeah.
So maybe there is an opportunity for a smaller company, and I would look at maybe angel lists as an option. And these companies may be too small for you, but I would take a look at smaller companies and see if there's an opportunity there, because I think that at these smaller companies, also, you're going to be able to find out who's the actual person hiring. And so you can go directly to them and create a video for them. And
oh my gosh, do you have any videos you can share with me? It doesn't have to be now, but
we've got a template. Actually, it's
really?
It's a little script. It's a little script that we've written. I think it's called like the 10-30-10 or something like that, but it's basically like videos should be under a minute, and here's what you say in the first 10 seconds, here's what you say in the next 30 seconds, here's what you say in the last 10 seconds.
Oh my God,
we'll share that with you after this.
Thank you.
I will share you an example, and this is what I'm going to share an example of a meeting that I booked. I know it's going to be a little bit different because it's not for a role.
But
it's so important because we're in such a digital age and other people aren't doing this. The importance is getting above the noise. And so I haven't found a better way to get above the noise than by sending video. So,
and you do this via LinkedIn.
Yeah. But if you're not connected with them, so if you're not connected with them, I wouldn't do InMail's not my favorite, but I would connect with people from companies you want to work with and reach out to them. And even if it's just, hey, I'm interested in working you connect with all the people who have similar roles or who would be your manager at that company. And you could even position it as, hey, I saw there were some open roles. Would you be open to having a conversation just so I can learn more about the role? And you can hopefully get your foot in the door, but you're also learning more about the role and what's actually involved. You can use that information to go forward and put it in your application.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So I would say, yeah, that big piece of the digital portfolio is how do you show them that you are capable of the job before they even have to ask you?
Yep.
So that's, for example, I do some side consulting for sales teams, and I do enablement around video and messaging. And so I actually reached out to a CEO and I said, hey, Amanda, I'm doing this side work where I do enablement for teams and I work on their messaging, and here's my pitch and here's who I book meetings with. And I sent her an example of a video. And so it builds that trust of saying, hey, look, I can do this. You don't even need to ask me.
Yeah.
So here's what I would do. Wow. Even if you're not connected and you just need to email them, I would send them a video. I would send people videos because you have a great personality. Why not show it? You can say a lot more over a video than you could say in email. So
that's true.
Exactly. And so I would also do research on the people who you are sending videos to. So it's not just a, hey, it wouldn't be pain to meet. We do this, we do this, we do this. Although when you're pitching yourself, you are pitching yourself more when you're applying for a role.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing it, I'm saying, hey, I noticed you said this. So that's a piece is how do you do your research on the people who you want to get in with? Because then they think, oh, you can actually do research. You actually are thinking of creative different ways. So maybe you find someone's Instagram and they really like ice cream. You say, hey, I noticed you like ice cream. My favorite flavor is also this.
Oh my God, this is so good.
So,
oh my God.
tying it in though, right? So you'd have to say my favorite ice cream flavor is this. Or let's say someone says, like, you see on their profile that they like sports. You can say, hey, something I know you're a fan of blank team. Something I know is really important in sports is collaboration and working together well. And that's exactly what's important in
oh my gosh,
brand partnerships or whatever it is. And actually with blank company, I achieved X result because I was building that brand partnership. I'm really interested in this role and I think I'll succeed because of blank, blank, and blank. Would you be open to a conversation?
So good.
And always one thing I say in sales is don't ask for 15 minutes. You can ask that probably to an interviewer, but usually I'll say, are you open to a conversation? Because it's more of a soft ask and there feels like less pressure.
Yeah.
So I think what you need to do is set time blocks on your calendar. This is going to make things less exhausting. So you're not just feeling like an endless stream of whatever. So what you're going to want to do is break down your time blocks into researching roles is going to be one time block. You may have it multiple times a week. Yep. Another time block is going to be building out your design portfolio. I think you also are going to have to build out your website. So I think that's going to come first, right? But you can still build that out. And then if they say, hey, do you have a website? Then you can say, yes, here's my website. I think a piece of it is, did I mention this? Finding the people who you want to interview with. Did I mention that? I don't know. So finding the companies, then finding the people. So you may want to pay for a sales navigator and be able to.
Oh, I do. I have premium.
Okay, that's correct.
Okay.
You should have sales navigator if you have premium. And so you should be doing a search of, and you can create lead lists. So you can see, so I'll do a search. So a company you want to work for is Pinterest.
So I already have Sales Navigator. If
you should.
oh my gosh.
So. I believe so. Don't take my word for it, but
did I not know this?
I believe so. So then you would go and you would say, okay, this many employees. What's the actual title of the role that you're applying for?
At Pinterest, just try. I don't know if Pinterest has any right now, but just try brand partnerships.
Okay. So you do it. I usually do it in quotes. And you can do a seniority level. So you could also say, hey, in seniority level, I want to just see, I guess there's no directors. So who are the managers in brand partnerships? Okay, it's Eric. And these may be what you're looking for. They may not be aligned, but this will help you find.
And you can create a lead list.
Yeah.
Can we try Facebook?
Yes.
To see the partnerships one?
So one thing I would also say is some of these roles are going to be nuanced. So I would open people in new tabs and see what they actually do. So you're not wasting your time.
Yeah.
So this is going to be 4.5K decision. So brand partnerships.
Yeah. Like one of the roles is for Messenger. Okay, let's see. Director platform partnerships, head of music label partnerships. That'd be interesting. CPG.
So like I would be looking at the website and seeing what the roles are and aligning them to the people.
Uh-huh.
And so I would go like, I would connect with people on LinkedIn who are in these roles. I would send them a blank connection request.
Yeah.
I would A/B test with that though, because it works in my role, but I don't know when you're applying for jobs if it works the other way.
Okay.
So you may want to say, hey, I saw a role that was open. Would you be open to connecting so I can learn more? Or I would A/B test and have half your people who you're sending something specific of, hey, I noticed this role was open. I know that you do blank, blank, wondering if you'd be open to connecting.
Okay.
I would do half of your requests saying.
That's how I got my last job. I've never gotten a job simply just applying. It's always been referrals or like, yeah.
Connection. So I would do a connection message and just say, hey, I noticed this role was open. Wondering if you'd be open to connecting. Then you connect with these people. Your first touch is going to be a video. Rule number 1, first touch is video. You want to make an impression.
Okay.
And you can send me a video. It literally only has to be a minute. You're saying you do your research. So what you're going to also want to do is research blocks when you're finding your people of actual research on those people, if you can find anything. And then what you'll do is you'll create a script, right? You'll create a few notes, bullet points, and then you will record. And you'll use a tool like Drift where you get 100 free videos. Drift. So DRIFT video. And that's what I use. Okay. And then your first touch. And so you may want to create an Excel spreadsheet. You may obviously want to create something to track, but your first touch will be that video. And once they connect, you'll say, hey, name, thanks so much for connecting. You go into your little pitch. Would you be open to a conversation is how you'll end it. You'll send a message after the video and say, hey, name, I created a video for you. It's 1 minute, I promise. That's literally all you will send. Then you're going to want to send some follow-up, and you could do something cute like what I do. And so I do some follow-up GIFs, and you can create GIFs in Drift. What I would do though is after you create those GIFs, download them and then just drag them on, because I don't like using Drift for actual GIFs. I only like using it for video because you can track when people clicked on it. But what I would have is something cute like this. Is that you? Yes, both of these.
Oh my God, how even?
So I have a GIF that says, what did you think? So on a certain day, and you want to map out also your messaging. So once someone has connected, you'll look in your network, see who has accepted your request. And then, so you may have a row that says accepted LinkedIn connection requests. You may have a row that says create video. You may have a row that says send GIF, and then it will say like send second GIF. So I'll have this GIF, which says, what did you think? And especially since you're like in this digital world, you want to create something engaging, right?
Yeah, this is so good.
And then you could do something like this of BRB, on my way to watch the video you created for me. And I'll say like, is this you? And then you could do a GIF, and I haven't created this yet, of like someone running and say, is this you coming back to reply to my video message or something?
Wait, okay. So you do the Drift and you record it on Drift and then you drag it into the LinkedIn message?
Okay, let me hold up. So for the video, that's all Drift. I'll just have it, my library.
Okay, and then you paste the link and it automatically like shows populate.
Yeah, it populates. You can do it over email also. What I would say best practice for email is like it's going to populate the link and the GIF. I would take out the link.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because the link, you don't want someone to have a click, but with the video, obviously, and if you try to go using InMail, the preview will not show up. So what I will do for when I'm creating GIFs is I'll create the GIF. So you can do a record new video. You can do record GIF, and maybe it's just your face only. Also, best practice for video, be on their LinkedIn profile, have your head in a bubble on the bottom, 100%.
Okay.
It's not about you, it's about them. They want the familiarity. That's the best thing. Don't use a whiteboard. Doesn't look as professional. So what you'll do is you'd create the GIF. So you'd record a GIF. And so the GIF I created was this.
Yeah.
And then what you'll do is you'll go in and so I'll do this. What I'll do is the 3 dots. I will download the GIF. That GIF will then be on my desktop. What I want to do is I will want to go into Giphy, and I will upload content, and you'll get a recording of this. So you want to, I think it's upload. It might be create. I think it's create actually. So you go in, you create content. You're going to choose a photo or GIF, and then it's going to be HYFY recording. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to open it. It will then upload. Then I will add in the text of
okay.
What did you think?
This is brilliant.
Thank you. So, and then I'll do that. I'll drag the text. I might change the color. I wouldn't do anything fancy, like there's fancy stuff. I would just keep it probably default or meme, depending on your audience.
Yeah.
Then continue to upload. You just want to upload to Giphy. Then what you will do, there's 3 options of downloading it, and there's one which will open and one which will not open. I think it's the first one which downloads. So then what you'll do, instead of copying this link to your Giphy and putting it in LinkedIn, you're actually going to download the Giphy. It's going to be on your desktop, and you're going to drag it.
Drag that.
You do media, and then it's going to be, I think it's source, and you press download. That might be right. That might be wrong. I don't know. Then you'll drag it to your desktop. I always like to title it something like, what did you think? And then I'll drag it to the LinkedIn conversation.
Okay. And how much time do you put between them?
I would put just like a day or 2. Honestly, like you're trying to land a role and trying to stick out. So don't be afraid of bugging someone too much. Like, I even reach out pretty aggressively. Either you're going to get a yes or you're going to get a no. So why not find out sooner, and then you can move on. But if someone gets back to you and they say awesome video, then that's when, or great video, or the answer is very nuanced. That's when I would say awesome enough to have a conversation, or great enough to have a conversation. And I've booked at least 3 meetings in the past month because of that. So
oh my gosh, amazing.
Yes, I would. And you can send me an example of one of your videos. Let me show you an example. And this isn't going to be 100% applicable, because obviously you're not trying to get a meeting in the same sense, but here's an example.
Hey, Numi, thanks so much for connecting. Wanted to send you a quick video because I know you're an innovative thinker and a highly collaborative leader. And I consistently talk to other data science leaders, and what's top of mind for them is, I know you saved over $3 million annually, and obviously saving cost is top of mind, but also what else is top of mind for them is workforce management and being able to track their different models that are running, being able to put their data scientists on the best, most valuable projects for those best and experienced data scientists, and having really management over that, but also the ability for data scientists to collaborate on models, to be able to access past work so they're not starting from scratch every single time, and being able to collaborate with business units along the data science lifecycle. So really around that risk mitigation and not having all these clunky handoffs, but rather allowing everyone to come into Domino and for example, if I need a model validated, having a model validator come into Domino, validate that model, and there's no handoff involved. So I thought it might make sense at least to have a conversation around how we're helping the team at Fannie Mae. I know you were there back in 2009. I know that was a while back, but thought it might make sense at least to have a conversation and see if we can help your team with that data science workforce management and really getting models into production quicker. Have a wonderful day.
So
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
thank you. So this is longer than I would recommend for you, but I had to pitch my product. So
yeah. So I will keep mine to 1 minute or less.
1 minute or less. What you're going to say is, hey, thanks so much for connecting, or you'll send them a video saying, hey, wanted to send you a quick video. If they don't connect, also I would say, if you don't get someone to accept your connection request within 5 days, send them an email. And
do you get that through Sales Navigator?
No, we have tools.
I had a bunch of Chrome plugins that would help with that.
So there's one called Lucia, I think.
Yeah, there's like Snob and Scrap are the two that I know also.
Okay.
So if someone doesn't accept your request within 5 days, I would make sure that you are sending them an email, because usually people will accept your request in the first 5 days. I would also make sure that if you have something on your timeline, or if they haven't accepted it in 10 days, you rescind your request. So you take your request back and have a reminder to resend it in 30 days, because you have to wait 30 days to resend a request. But if you go into your connections, and if you go into my network, and then you go into manage, you will be able to see all your sent requests, and then you can take away requests and resend them and show up at the top of someone's request connections.
Wow. So, I did not know that. Okay. So you're saying if they don't accept it in 5 days, send an email, and then still keep track. If another 5 days goes by.
No. On those 5 days, you are withdrawing your request, you are sending that email, and then you have a reminder in 30 days to, and what you can do this in a spreadsheet. That's probably going to be the easiest, is just having columns of the days and things you're doing, different activities.
Or I wonder if I could do this in like a project management.
Definitely.
Like I have Asana.
Yeah, you could probably do this in Asana.
Or a HubSpot.
Yeah, make different tasks for, make different tasks for different people. You're running different cadences, you have different tasks. You could run it in HubSpot or Asana. That's better than just having something where you can figure out what tasks are due on what day, and you can run people through something. So I would say
this is brilliant.
Yes. So the biggest takeaways, I have to hop, but the biggest takeaways are create some type of outreach cadence. So when you are reaching out to people, set time for those blocks, set time for blocks to find companies. And I would throw some smaller companies in the pot.
Okay.
Take time to research people. For finding smaller companies, AngelList is a pretty good tool, because there you can search by jobs. You could search some on Crunchbase, obviously LinkedIn, but I think AngelList is more startup-y. So
yeah, totally.
Going on one side of the spectrum or the other is pretty good. There's also a list of 10,000 hot companies that are up and coming. And so I would look at those also. I don't know if they're going to be in the same space that you're looking for. There's a list. I forget what it's on, Growly or something.
Okay.
But what I would do is look at like up and coming companies that fit into the space that you're looking for. Obviously, there's criteria around those companies and what they're doing. Right. So I would do that. I would start sending connection requests to people, use that Sales Navigator search and go into those Sales Navigator search, find people in those roles. And even if that person isn't directly hiring, at least maybe you're on their radar. And so sending videos as soon as you get connected, sending follow-up, building out a website. And I think that's the best way, is obviously putting in your resume, but I think you need to directly reach out to people and not think of submitting applications or applying for jobs as a resume submittal. I think you go the opposite route.
Creative.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, so amazing. Thank you so much for this.
Yes. So I have to go, but when you
Oh,
have an updated copy of your resume, or if you have a questions, do you want to send me a request on LinkedIn?
I did already.
Okay, perfect. So if you have questions or send over your resume, happy to help with anything else as you go through the process.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's so helpful.
Yes. Happy to help.
Guys, you both are wonderful. I learned a couple new tricks too. I am going to go and make GIFs of myself right now.
And I will see you next month.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you both. Have an
Bye,
awesome
ladies.
rest of your
Okay.
week.
Bye, guys.